Okay, so got a bit of a trek to get back to the boss. So we learned a few things from that fight. One, the boss's unpredictable nature makes it very difficult to pin him down and actually do damage. And two, trying to do that with anything less than the wave is probably gonna end poorly. So I think what I'll do is I'll stop at this dungeon again, since this one didn't take too long to navigate. I'll grab the gun power up here and then beeline it straight to the lava forest area where the boss dungeon is, since I believe that floating gun power up that's just hanging out in the main map, I think it'll still be there. And if I get a flashing gun power up here and I get one in the forest, then that should put me at max gun for the boss. And with the understanding that I'm going to be attempting to try and kill the boss until I lose that gun and then going for the grenade trick, at least having a wave all the way up to the boss will make it easier to get there. And that's the main thing, because going across all the lava bridges with our good friends the robots there, having the fully upgraded gun will allow me to snipe those guys pretty easily, and I should be able to get through the boss dungeon relatively quick. So we're here at 4 gun power-ups, so now we can just head straight to the boss, which is going to be, again, down and to the right. And what I may end up doing, depending how this run goes, if I die again on the boss rather than subject you guys to watching me play through the same level 3 times, I'll just use the magic of editing to cut the section out, and then we'll pick up right at the boss door and go straight into the fight. Because I know I want to keep the whole Let's Play as uncut and in its original state as much as possible, but at the same time I know people don't like watching me do the same thing over and over again, and there may be more of that. So I will edit out what is repetitive if this ends up taking multiple runs, and we'll move forward from there. I would just hope that I don't burn up all my continues here, because again, like I've mentioned a couple times before, I'm going to need a couple for the final level and the final boss, because that zone is not easy. Just getting to the end dungeon where the final boss is rather challenging, and the boss itself is also challenging, so I want to leave myself a little bit of insurance so we're not getting into do or die mode when we're getting to the final parts of the game. But we'll see. At this point I'm not too worried. I think I've got a bit better idea of how to deal with the boss. We'll see if I can do it without using the cheat, and if not, then we'll do like we did for the level 6 boss, just so we can keep moving forward. Thankfully, the path to the boss, if you know which of these portals to take, is pretty straightforward. It's just down and to the right every time. The only tedious part is having to shoot your way through all of these lava tunnels to get back up, and then going through those identical horizontal bridge sections that all look virtually the same aside from the enemies. And so when we were here the first time, I think we can kind of confirm that one breakable section I bypassed is most likely the shortcut back to the beginning. It's probably following a very similar path as level 6, where you head to the boss and then you have a branch right towards the end before you get to the final screen before the dungeon, and then that will loop you back around towards the beginning. I could be completely wrong too. I guess we'll find out once I actually beat the boss of this area and we are moving on. Like I mentioned before, we can backtrack to the beginning of the zone, but the path to the final level is back in Area 3. So even if I have to go back to the first map, I'm going to need to make my way all the way back from the start of this area back to level 2 and then to level 3, which isn't a big deal. That should take virtually no time because the level 3 door in level 2 is right above the door I took to get here. So the last bit of backtracking will just be rerouting through area 2, going to 3, and then heading into that one previously inaccessible area to hit the final level. And final level's a challenge. I'm curious to see how much of that I remember and how easily it is as far as the path to the boss. We'll see. Like I mentioned on the first pass, level 7 itself is not too bad. It's a pretty straightforward area to get to the boss, and the real challenge is the boss itself. It's not like zone or area 6 with all the ice and the actual hazards. The only real danger here is the lava floor and the kind of maze-like path. So I think that section to the right was where I found the gunpowder before. So it looks like it might actually be gone. Yeah, I'll hook around again just to make sure I didn't miss it. But if so, that's kind of annoying. I don't know if that's just bad luck or RNG or what have you. Yeah, I think it was there. Well, that's okay. Still have the curved shots, which at this point are better than nothing to at least navigate through all of the areas leading up to the boss. So, and that I think is connected path from a different dungeon that I'm not able to access from here. So now I just need to be careful. I don't have the ability to completely snipe the robot guys with the wave, but I still have the curved shots, so at least I can snipe these guys without getting directly in their line of sight. So it shouldn't be too bad. I'll just have to be a little bit more careful. And now I'm down to the long distance pea shooter, so at this point my job is going to be a little more difficult. So now I don't have the ability to snipe these guys, so I wonder if it'll make more sense to just beeline it straight through. Oh, I didn't even know that was there. Well, joke's on me, I guess. I should have been more careful. Well, if I have to run through this area again, at least I'll know that there's another potential max gun power-up situation here in the boss level itself. So if I can just get there with the half gun from the first dungeon, then I can max out here on the way to the boss. But at least that gives me some tools to deal with these guys. Of course, I still have to hit them. Man. I feel like as the curved shot powers up in level, the radius and speed or number of the curved bullets changes. So that's something I'm going to have to get a handle on at some point, or maybe it won't matter by the time I get to the end of the game. It definitely feels like these are in a tighter pattern around Jason versus some of the other ones seem to circle outwards at a wider range. At least that's just the way it seems. It's probably not a big deal. I can still use the shots to snipe out the robots and just slowly proceed here. It's actually these big open areas that scare me the most, just because there's a lot of space for them to just pop in. And they tend to kind of run you down quickly, since they don't really give you a lot of room to just dance around, versus on the bridges you can see where they're at and they don't really move around too much. And I believe I'm going the right way. We'll find out. This area, just like all of the other hazardous type areas, it's kind of same looking. I think it's kind of confusing. It's easy to get turned around, but oh, okay. So that little power up there that you can see from the entrance, you do run across. I guess I did that on the last run too. I just forgot. My short-term memory tends to be focused on the critical path and or the boss strategy, so I'm sure it looks strange to watch it start to finish in video format, but that's just kind of one of those things. So now I just need to be careful. If I can get all the way to the boss, which I think is the door up top. Okay, so now it's go time. So I think what I may try and do is bait out and just dodge all of Enhanced Fred's attacks till he throws the fire tongue, and that gives me most options to try and shoot him in the side of the face. Let's see if that works. At this point I just want to avoid taking any sort of damage. Ah. Well. Gotcha. Okay. Wow. I'm surprised I was able to do that on my first shot. So let's let this ride for a second here, just because I know he's got a pretty decent amount of health. Still a scary fight. You know, I think I had a pretty good fighting chance, but you make one mistake and you lose the wave. Okay. Boss number 7 down. So that wasn't too bad. Still pretty tough. I think Enhanced Fred's probably the toughest boss we've fought so far.